It's a cozy soup that is the perfect recipe to warm you up on these chilly winter days. Here to share her delicious and easy chicken noodle soup recipe, we welcome kids cooking instructor Julie Mary. Thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
This is a great way to cap off this never-ending, icy, snowy week because you teach kids how to cook.
Yes, yes.
And we've all been home with our children.
Yes. So get them in the kitchen and they can help you and then you can kick your feet up.
Because we're beginning to defrost, but it's still pretty chilly out there. So this is a nice winter recipe. Where
Very
do you
simple.
start and how do you make this kind of kid family friendly?
Okay, so I try to keep it real simple, but you can jazz it up in many different ways.
Sure.
We're just going to do a basic way today.
Okay.
First thing we're going to do is add a little, I've got this pan already heated up. We're going to add a little avocado oil. You can use any kind of vegetable oil.
Okay.
Olive oil would probably not be great for soup because it's going to smoke really easy.
Oh, okay.
So we're just going to use a little bit of avocado oil. Pan's already hot, so it's ready to go.
Perfect.
I like to get my onions going first before my other veggies. It kind of sweetens them up a little bit. A lot of kids think they don't like onions.
They think they don't like them.
They think they don't, and I always tell them it's in pizza sauce, and they're like, oh.
Oh,
so.
that is a great point. Okay, I'm going to tell my children that next time they claim they don't like onions. Okay.
So we have onions. I'm going to let you season those up. I've got some sea salt here, little sea salt, little black pepper, and some thyme.
All right. How much do we say?
Just like that's perfect.
Good.
We're just going to do like a little first layer of flavor. Maybe a couple shakes of pepper.
Pepper. Don't want to overdo it on the pepper.
If you're under the weather, you could do cayenne.
Okay.
Kind of jazz it up, get those sinuses flowing. Little thyme, perfect.
Good? Okay.
Perfect. All right, so I'm going to let you stir.
All right.
While I will switch places real quick.
Perfect.
So I like to give the onions a head start, but we're also going to add carrots and celery.
Okay.
I've already diced everything up pretty much the same size so that it all kind of cooks the same amount of time. We'll get that about another 30 seconds.
Okay.
And you can add, let's see, mushrooms. A lot of kids don't like mushrooms, or they think they don't.
Sure. Yeah, same thing. They think they don't. But these are good. These are pretty approachable veggies.
Yes, these are, most kids like carrots, about 50% like celery, but in a soup.
They can eat around them.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Okay, so we're going to do a little of the carrots in there.
Already smells so good.
And the celery.
Okay.
So those are your three. That's like basically your foundation of flavor.
Okay, and how long for these guys to hang out in here?
We're gonna let those cook a few minutes,
okay.
But obviously we don't have all that time today. So after we do that, and you can do this or I can do this. I'm gonna add ginger to this soup.
Okay.
So I can chop it and we could switch, or you can chop. It doesn't matter.
How about you chop?
I will chop. No problem.
I've committed some faux pas with knives on this show, so I'm gonna keep
understand.
it. It's been a long week. We're gonna get out with no injuries here.
So I'm just going to mince it. This is something I let kids do because it's very safe. Their fingers are on top of the knife.
Okay.
This is a big knife, but I've had small children use big knives.
Sure. With the correct supervision, we can all get it done.
The ginger, you're going to want to cook that longer than the garlic. The garlic will add last before we add the broth.
Garlic goes pretty quick, right? You don't want it to burn.
And you don't want it to burn. It gets a little bitter if it gets too brown.
Okay.
So I think that's good on the ginger.
Nice.
So we're going to add that. You could also add, again, if you like spice, you could add jalapeno or serrano, any sort of pepper to get those juices flowing a little more. Should be smelling really good right about now.
Oh, that's such a nice, I don't think about ginger always going into a soup, but it's a nice dimension to that flavor.
It is. And I'm going to add one more pinch of salt. Just, again, I like to layer flavors as we go.
Okay.
So next up, it'll be the garlic. So I'm just going to chop up. I'll just do a couple cloves today. We're going to get those minced also, and then add those right before we add the broth.
Do you typically use kind of regular adult knives? I've seen those kid-safe knives.
I have
that are
some
kind of just
small
plastic
knives.
and serrated.
I don't use plastic ones.
Okay.
I've found that kids have to push a little harder to get through those, and so when they do get a real knife, if they push a little hard, the knife could slip. I'd rather them just use a smaller knife, a sharp one, so that they don't have to push so hard.
Okay.
So we've got those already sweating. There's a nice glistening all over. The onions are starting to get a nice color on them.
Okay.
So we're going to add our garlic in.
Oh, yum.
And after about 30 seconds, we're going to pour in all of our broth. I'm using just a chicken stock. You can use broth. You can use bone broth. It doesn't really matter, whatever you have on hand. You could use chicken. You could use a combo of beef and chicken to get it a little richer.
Oh, okay.
Bone broth is a little more concentrated. So now that the garlic is in there, you can smell it. We're just going to hear that sizzle.
Yes.
All right, so all of this goes in. And then this is gonna cook about 10 minutes, and then we're gonna jump over to the finished one and
Okay.
add our chicken and noodles. I use rotisserie chicken.
Oh, I love that.
So it's just easy, and I'm gonna show you a really easy way to do this.
Okay.
So I shredded most of it, but I tell kids it's like string cheese. So you just pull
Oh, that makes
little
perfect
pieces
sense.
off, just like that.
Okay, we've got
Okay.
about a minute left. This
Okay.
is coming together so nicely.
And just for fun, I have alphabet noodles. You
Those are
could
so
use ramen
cute.
noodles. You could use egg noodles. You want a quick cooking noodle.
And where do you find the alphabet noodles?
So in the grocery store, they're kind of hard to find in the regular pasta section. So you have to go over to the Mexican section.
Okay.
Mexican foods. So we're going to hop over
Perfect,
here
okay.
to the finished soup and add our noodles that I already cooked. You can cook these in the broth. However, they're going to soak up some of the broth.
Oh, okay.
So I like to cook them separate.
That makes
And then we
sense.
can
The
pour
whole
the chicken
thing?
in. Give it just a quick little stir.
Okay.
Basically, we're just trying to warm up the chicken.
Sure.
And then it's done.
Oh,
So after this
alrighty,
cooks
Roo.
about 10 minutes,
Stir this
then
guy
you
up.
stir in the cooked chicken and the pasta. You can also add rice, but again, you would want to cook that separately because
Okay.
that's going to soak up all the liquid.
That was pretty easy.
Yeah, and then we'll
Okay.
taste to make sure that if it
How
needs
do
any
I
more
dish
salt,
this?
we're going to go,
There we go.
yeah. We can
Here,
use,
you help
yeah,
me
I didn't
here.
bring a
Just
ladle,
got the flat,
but
flat spatula.
tell you what, I'm just going to go for it.
Oh, here. We'll get a little bit of the protein in there. This is like cooking at home. You
Yeah.
don't have the right tool all the time.
This is
you
what
just
happens.
make it happen. It's a little messy.
Okay,
That's
and
okay.
we're going to get you a little
Oh,
broth.
perfect.
There we go. Okay,
Yum.
and spoons.
Spoons.
Now I haven't tasted for salt, but let's taste it together and
okay.
see what we think.
We're gonna say cheers. Hot, hot, hot.
It's actually not super hot.
Oh,
There
I
we
love
go.
that.
There we go. And that time just adds a little richness to the flavor.
Perfect for a winter's day. Thank you so
Yeah,
much. It
you're
was great
welcome.
cooking with you.
Thanks
We're
for
going to
having
have
me.
this recipe and more about Julie on our website at katu.com. And we'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.
Yay!